You know, civilization is collapsing when someone tries to return a half-eaten rotisserie chicken because it didn't taste like chicken. Stores have seen it all: refund requests for used mattresses, burned birthday cakes, and even air that someone swore was expired. It's like customer service counters are less about commerce and more about anthropology, studying the exact point where entitlement meets delusion. And if you think that's the bottom of the barrel, just wait. Because what people have actually tried to return will make you question whether humanity deserves receipts at all. 1. A woman once stormed into a grocery store with a half-eaten rotisserie chicken and demanded a refund because it didn't taste like chicken. Yes, she was genuinely shocked that the roasted bird, clearly once a chicken, didn't meet her poultry expectations. The cashier, caught between laughter and despair, pointed out the obvious. "Ma'am, it literally is a chicken." She wasn't buying it, pun intended. She wanted her money back for the bird she had devoured down to its sad little bones. Honestly, if this scam worked, half the country would never buy groceries again. You'd just eat your food, return the crumbs, and treat grocery stores like Netflix. Free trial meals forever. 2. A guy once returned a snow shovel. In July. His excuse? Didn't need it anymore. That's like buying sunscreen, finishing the summer and asking for a refund because the sun went away. He'd used the shovel all winter, probably chipped ice, moved mountains of snow, and then, when summer hit, he decided he'd basically rented it from Walmart. That's not how stores work, buddy. That's how libraries work. Imagine walking into Home Depot in the middle of a heat wave with a salt-stained, bent shovel and expecting cash. Honestly, the boldness is almost admirable. If audacity was currency, this man would be Jeff Bezos. 3. Someone once tried to return a bag of salad because it had gone bad. And here's the kicker. The receipt was from 2 months earlier. 2 months. Sir, that lettuce did not go bad. That lettuce lived a full, beautiful life, died of natural causes, and decomposed into mulch. This wasn't a return. It was a burial. Grocery stores sell food, not time machines. You can't just neglect your fridge for 8 weeks and then blame Dole for nature doing its thing. Honestly, the fact that the cashier didn't just hand him a sympathy card for his lost produce is a missed opportunity. 4. A man once returned a Christmas tree in January, claiming it had died too quickly. Oh, really? The tree you cut down from nature didn't stay alive indoors under hot lights? Weird. Imagine kidnapping someone, locking them in your living room, then being shocked when they don't make it to Valentine's Day. The audacity is hilarious. Yes, Target, I'd like to complain that biology happened. Sir, the tree isn't defective, it's just dead, like, by definition. 5. A woman once brought back a vacuum cleaner because it sucked too much. That's literally the job. That's like returning a blender because it blended aggressively, or a knife because it was sharp in a very stabby way. The employee had to explain that suction power is not a defect. It's the reason vacuums exist. She wasn't convinced. She wanted a vacuum that, what? Sucked a little but not too much? Basically, she wanted a $200 floor fan. 6. Someone tried to return a carton of eggs after boiling them. Not broken eggs, not cracked eggs. Full-on hard-boiled, peeled, and clearly eaten eggs. Their complaint? These weren't fresh. Fresh? They were cooked. By you. This is like eating a steak, grilling the bones for dessert, then complaining the cow wasn't grass-fed. Stores are not responsible for what happens when you personally destroy the product. Honestly, if the cashier didn't just hand this person a frying pan and say, "Congratulations, you're the problem," they deserve a raise. 7. A man once tried to return a half-empty bottle of wine because it gave him a headache. Yeah, champ, that's called alcohol. That's literally the product working as advertised. What did he think wine was? Grape-flavored Pedialyte? He wanted a refund because his hangover wasn't high quality. Sir, the only faulty product here is your liver. 8. A customer once returned a mirror claiming it was defective because it made them look fat. That's not a return. That's a therapy session. Unless the mirror came with Photoshop installed, it's not broken. It's just showing reality. The fact that this person thought the cashier was going to nod sympathetically and hand over a slimmer reflection is next-level delusion. What's next? Returning a scale because gravity was being mean that day? 9. Someone once tried to return a frying pan because the non-stick coating wore off. When asked how long they'd had it, they said, 7 years. 7 years. That's not a return. That's a retirement ceremony. The pan served bravely, cooked thousands of eggs, and died in the line of duty. And now you're dragging it back to the store like a burnt-out veteran begging for a refund? Honestly, that pan deserves a pension, not a customer service desk. 10. A guy once returned underwear. Not unopened, not tagged, used. His excuse? They didn't fit right. Yeah, nothing screams customer service nightmare like a pair of stretched-out boxers slapping onto the counter. Stores have policies about hygiene for a reason, sir. This isn't an Amazon return. It's biohazard disposal. Returning used underwear should carry a lifetime ban from retail, plus mandatory therapy. 11. A woman once brought back dead goldfish to a pet store demanding her money back. Her reasoning? They didn't swim enough. Ma'am, they're fish, not SeaWorld performers. You don't buy guppies expecting synchronized water ballet and returning dead fish to the store? What's the plan here? Are they going to reshelve them? Sell them to the next kid as low-energy pets? This isn't customer service. This is a crime scene. 12. Someone once tried to return a used mattress. Not just slept on, stained, and not coffee stains. The kind of stains you don't explain out loud. Their excuse? It wasn't comfortable. You know what's also uncomfortable? The poor employee forced to touch that mattress while imagining whatever Olympic event took place on it. Honestly, some returns should come with police reports, not refunds. 13. A man once returned a half-used candle saying it burned too fast. Sir, that's how fire works. It consumes things. That's its job. That's like buying ice and being furious that it melted when you left it in the sun. He wanted a refund because his wax stick didn't defy the laws of thermodynamics. Honestly, if candles could last forever, Yankee Candle would own the entire world economy. 14. A woman once returned baby clothes because her newborn outgrew them too quickly. Yes, that's called growth. It's literally the one job babies have, to get bigger. Did she expect the store to issue an exchange program like baby leasing? Oh, sorry, my child is now size chunk. Can I swap these onesies? Honestly, if human development shocks you, you're not ready for parenting. 15. Someone once tried to return a toaster because the toast came out too hot. That's not a flaw. That's toast. That's literally the definition of toast. Do you want bread warmed politely by compliments? The toaster did exactly what you asked. It transformed bread into toast. If you're angry at hot toast, maybe you're just not emotionally ready for breakfast foods. 16. A man once returned a blender because it was too loud. Yeah, blenders are loud. You know why? Because they're pulverizing ice cubes with the fury of 1,000 chainsaws. Did you think it was going to hum gently like a spa machine while obliterating frozen fruit? If a blender was silent, it would be called a magic trick, not an appliance. 17. Someone once returned a lawnmower because it ran out of gas too fast. Sir, it's not a Tesla. It's a lawnmower. It runs on gas. You pour it in, it burns it, you refill it. That's the entire cycle. He wanted a refund because his mower required refueling, as though the cashier was going to nod and say, "Oh, sorry, here's the self-replenishing nuclear-powered mower model instead." Honestly, if that existed, Elon Musk would have already tweeted about it at 3 a.m. 18. A woman once returned a hairdryer because, and I quote, "it made my hair hot." Imagine the shock of discovering that the object designed to blow hot air blew hot air. She wasn't complaining about it burning her scalp or malfunctioning, just the heat itself. That's like buying ice cubes and complaining they were too cold. She wanted a refund because her hairdryer did its exact job flawlessly. Somewhere, a store employee had to stand there nodding politely while wondering if maybe Darwin was right about natural selection. Honestly, this wasn't a return. This was a philosophical crisis. 19. A man brought back a frozen turkey after Thanksgiving because it took too long to cook. Sir, it's a 20-pound bird, not a Hot Pocket. He was genuinely upset that thawing and roasting an entire animal didn't fit into his tight holiday schedule. He actually demanded the store compensate him for the inconvenience of physics, as if the manager could snap their fingers and hand him a pre-cooked turkey from an alternate timeline. I can just picture the cashier saying, "Next time, maybe don't host a feast with the patience of a TikTok viewer." 20. Someone once returned a tent after a camping trip, saying it smelled like smoke. Yes, because you used it. In the woods, with a fire. That's not a defect. That's called camping. The tent worked fine, kept you dry, didn't collapse on your head, but the faint whiff of wood smoke was apparently a deal breaker. Imagine renting a car, driving it across the country, and then returning it because it smelled like road. That's the level of logic we're working with here. 21st. A customer tried to return a Halloween costume on November 1st, claiming it was too scary. Too scary. That's the point. That's literally the seasonal goal. This wasn't a costume malfunction. This was you discovering you don't like your own purchase. It's like buying a hot pepper, biting into it and saying, "Excuse me, this is way too spicy. I'd like my money back and maybe some milk." Honestly, the fact the store didn't charge him a coward tax is a missed opportunity. 22. A man once returned printer ink because, in his words, it ran out too quickly. Translation, he used it. This is the retail equivalent of finishing a pizza and asking for a refund because it disappeared too fast. Printer ink isn't infinite. It's liquid money in a tiny cartridge. You don't get to drain the whole thing into your 400-page manifesto and then waltz back demanding a replacement. If printer ink worked the way he wanted, every office supply store would be bankrupt in a week. 23. A woman returned sunglasses because they made everything too dark. Ma'am, that's how sunglasses work. That's the entire selling point. If you wanted things brighter, you should have bought a flashlight. The poor employee had to listen as she described how the lenses reduced sunlight exposure, like she was unveiling some shocking conspiracy about Ray-Ban technology. Imagine her face when she realized the world wasn't defective. The glasses were just doing their one job correctly. 24. Someone once tried to return an alarm clock because it kept waking them up. Sir, it's not defective, it's victorious. That's the whole battle plan of alarm clocks, to ruin your dreams and drag you into your miserable morning routine. You don't get to return it because it succeeded. That's like firing your dentist for fixing your cavity too thoroughly. Honestly, at this point, I'm convinced people just want refunds for reality itself. 25. A guy brought back a barbecue grill after using it all summer. His excuse? It got dirty. That's not a return. That's just laziness disguised as customer service. Of course it's dirty. You literally cooked meat on it. What was he expecting? A self-cleaning Disney princess grill that whistled while it worked. Imagine trying this logic anywhere else. Hi, I'd like to return this toilet. It's been used and now it's gross. 26. A woman once returned a wedding dress after the wedding. Not before, not during, after. She marched into the store with a gown covered in dance floor grime and demanded a full refund. Her excuse? I only wore it once. That's not a defect. That's the business model. You don't buy wedding dresses for daily wear. Imagine returning a birthday cake after eating it because it only worked for one day. Honestly, the audacity here is breathtaking. 27. Someone once tried to return ice cream because it had melted. And the kicker, it melted because they left it in their car for hours in summer. The employee explained, very patiently I assume, that freezers exist for a reason. But no, this customer insisted the ice cream was sold defective, as if Ben & Jerry personally engineered a frozen conspiracy to ruin their dashboard. Honestly, if ice cream could survive a hot car, it wouldn't be food. It would be uranium. 28. A man once returned a lawn chair because it collapsed. When asked how it collapsed, he admitted, "Well, I stood on it." Sir, it's a chair, not a ladder. If you want to reenact Cirque du Soleil in your backyard, buy the right equipment. You can't treat a $12 folding chair like industrial scaffolding and then complain when gravity wins. The chair didn't fail you. Physics did. 29. A woman returned shampoo because it made her hair wet. Yes, that was her actual complaint. She was genuinely upset that liquid soap, when applied to her head, produced wetness. Not dryness, not sparks, not confetti, just wet hair. Imagine being that horrified by the single most predictable outcome in the entire shampoo industry. Honestly, if she expected dry cleaning for her scalp, she should have asked for a vacuum, not Pantene. 30. A customer once returned socks because they made their feet sweaty. Socks. The fabric barrier literally designed to trap warmth and moisture. That's not a design flaw. That's the sock lifestyle. It's like buying a blanket and returning it because it made you too cozy. Honestly, I hope the store refused and just handed him sandals with a warning label, for those who fear fabric. 31. A man returned batteries because they died after use. Sir, that's not death. That's fulfillment. Batteries don't live forever. They're not Thor's hammer. You put them in, they power your flashlight, they expire. That's the contract. Trying to return spent batteries is like suing your lighter because it ran out of fluid after a year of chain smoking. Honestly, I'm shocked he didn't also bring in his dead goldfish with the same argument. 32. Someone once returned a pizza because it was cut into too many slices. They weren't upset about the flavor or the toppings, just the geometry. Apparently, 8 slices was too overwhelming, and they would have preferred 6. Imagine blaming math for ruining your dinner. Sir, it's still the same circle of bread and cheese, not a calculus exam. Unless your life goal is to make Domino's reprint the laws of fractions, maybe just eat the extra pieces. 33. A woman once returned a blender because it blended too thoroughly. In her words, I wanted chunky smoothies. Chunky smoothies. That's called fruit salad. She bought a machine engineered to obliterate food at 20,000 RPM, then got mad when it didn't politely leave her half a banana intact. Honestly, that's like buying a chainsaw and then whining because it cut wood too efficiently. 34. A man once returned toothpaste because it made his mouth minty. That's not a defect. That's civilization. That's centuries of dental hygiene culminating in a product that does exactly what it promises. He was actually offended by the flavor, like Colgate had personally ambushed him with freshness. Sir, if mint is too much for you, may I suggest not brushing? Which, judging by this return, was already the lifestyle choice anyway. 35. A man once tried to return his Christmas lights because they were tangled. Of course they were tangled. That's not a defect. That's the very soul of Christmas. Untangling lights is half the holiday tradition, right after passive-aggressively judging your relatives. This man essentially bought a holiday burden, refused to accept reality, and then demanded the store clean up his mess. That's like returning wrapping paper because folding it made you sad. Honestly, if this logic worked, I'd return January every single year. 36. A woman returned a coffee maker because, and I swear this is real, the coffee tasted like coffee. She wasn't joking. She was actually offended that ground beans produced the flavor of ground beans. That's like buying a dog and then being horrified when it barks. She claimed she wanted a smoother flavor profile, which is just corporate speak for I don't know how coffee works. The employee should have handed her a juice box and said, "Here, try something less advanced." 37. Someone once returned a pair of headphones because they didn't cancel enough noise. When asked what noise, he said, "My kids." Sir, that's not a product flaw. That's biology. You didn't buy noise-canceling headphones. You bought a reminder that you need babysitting. Honestly, if headphones could erase children's voices entirely, Beats by Dre would replace every divorce lawyer in America. 38. A man once returned a grill cover because it didn't protect the grill from rain. The issue? He hadn't actually put it on. He left it folded up in the box, next to the grill. That's like buying an umbrella, setting it on the sidewalk, and being shocked when you get wet. Imagine dragging dripping charcoal-stained shame into customer service and expecting sympathy. Honestly, I hope the cashier just asked if he wanted to return his shoes next, since they didn't walk him anywhere. 39. Someone once returned a birthday balloon because it deflated. Yes, after 3 weeks. 3 weeks! That's not a defective balloon. That's a balloon that died of old age. What did you want? A helium-filled immortal? This person essentially demanded eternal joy from $2 worth of rubber. If balloons lasted forever, childhood parties would just be floating graveyards of SpongeBob heads looming above us like ghosts of birthdays past. 40. A woman once returned nail polish because it chipped after a week. A week! She wanted a lifetime guarantee on a product that sits on the literal ends of your body, scraping against every keyboard and doorknob on Earth. Ma'am, if nail polish could last forever, it would be classified as a building material. Your complaint isn't with the product, it's with friction, time, and reality itself. 41. A man once returned a fish tank because the fish he bought with it died too quickly. Here's the plot twist. He never put water in the tank. He just dropped the fish in like they were pocket lint. And then, shocked I tell you, that the pet store had the audacity to sell him mortal animals. Honestly, at this point, the employees deserve combat pay. 42. Someone once returned a slow cooker because it cooked too slowly. The clue was literally in the name. That's like buying fast food and complaining it arrived too fast. Slow cookers exist to turn 8 hours of waiting into tender deliciousness. But no, this man was outraged. He wanted brisket at microwave speed. Honestly, if he'd returned a book because it had too many words, I wouldn't be surprised. 43. A woman once returned a pair of boots because they got dirty in the rain. Boots, the footwear specifically designed to stomp through puddles, mud, and everything short of lava. That's like returning a raincoat because it got wet. Imagine dragging your muddy shoes back to the cashier and saying, "Excuse me, I wanted magical levitation boots that hover gracefully above sidewalks." 44. A man once returned a ladder because it wasn't tall enough. Fair enough, right? Except he bought the shortest model in the store, a tiny 3-step stool. He wanted to reach his roof with it. The cashier asked if he wanted to exchange for something taller, and he said no. He just wanted his money back because the ladder lied about being a ladder. Sir, ladders don't lie. They just watch as gravity does its job. 45. Someone once returned a fan because it only blew air one way. Yes, that's called wind. That's literally how fans work. The man said he expected it to circulate air more creatively. What did he want? A tornado? A gentle summer breeze that whispered motivational quotes? Unless Dyson starts selling mood-based wind, you're stuck with basic air. 46. A woman once returned a frying pan because it got hot. Yep. She expected a stovetop pan to somehow remain room temperature while actively sitting on fire. She was apparently concerned it might burn her hand while cooking, which raises the question, how exactly was she planning to cook? Cold pancakes? Honestly, I'm shocked she didn't also return her oven for excessive warmth. 47. Someone once returned socks because they shrank in the dryer. Shocker, cloth fibers don't like extreme heat. This man was furious, as if the store had sold him socks with a built-in death wish. Imagine being mad at cotton for obeying physics. What's next? Returning ice cubes because they melted in your cocktail. Oh wait, we already had that logic with ice cream. 48. A man once returned a fire extinguisher because, after using it, it was empty. Yes, sir. It saved your house, but shame on it for not being infinite. He wanted a replacement because apparently he thought fire extinguishers were rechargeable Pokemon powers. Imagine returning a parachute after it saved your life saying, "Yeah, it worked, but now it's all used up." 49. Someone once returned an umbrella because it flipped inside out. When asked what happened, they admitted they'd been standing in hurricane-level winds. Sir, that's not a product defect. That's weather trying to kill you. The umbrella didn't fail you. It fought bravely until Mother Nature folded it like origami. Honestly, it deserves a memorial, not a refund. 50. A woman once returned her bedsheets because they got wrinkled. She expected linens to behave like smooth marble slabs. The cashier explained that sheets wrinkle because they're fabric. She wasn't convinced. She wanted her money back because her bed didn't look like a hotel catalog after one night. Honestly, if flat sheets existed, IKEA would already be charging $400 a set. 51. And finally, the undisputed champion of dumb returns. A man once tried to return his groceries, all of them, after eating them. He kept the receipt, walked in with empty packaging, and demanded a full refund because the food didn't last. That's not a return. That's shoplifting with extra paperwork. He basically treated the supermarket like Netflix, finishing the entire series of chicken, chips, and ice cream, then canceling his subscription. Honestly, this is the purest distillation of human entitlement. It wasn't just dumb. It was genius in the worst possible way. A mic drop for stupidity. And there you have it. Proof that the return counter is less a customer service desk and more a confessional booth for human idiocy. I've shown you the worst, but I know you've seen worse. So, which one deserves the crown for dumbest? And what's the most ridiculous return you've ever witnessed? Drop it in the comments, vote for your favorite disaster, and if you want front row seats to humanity's ongoing comedy show, hit like and subscribe. Because trust me, the madness only gets dumber from here.